I'm starting with some Centura pearl, okay, and I've got a square here for the box lid, and this is measuring 7.5 inches by 7.5 inches. So I need to go over to my box lid, which is this side, on my score. I'm using the Score Master here. You can quite easily use your big score, and I'm just going to score on all 4 sides at the 2-inch mark, because I want a nice deep lid on this one. So I'm just going round on all 4 sides for my box lid. Okay, just pop that to one side, and then just go through and give these a nice burnish. Those nice crisp lines help considerably when you're box making. And then to join this together, just with a pair of scissors, I'm actually cutting on the score line itself, and then I'm taking a little notch out like that, and you're going to do that on all 4 sides. And then we need to join this to make our lid, and I'm going to do this with the tacky glue, because we get a quick grab, especially as I'm using Centura pearl here. So you might think I'm putting a lot on, but I don't want the project to fall apart, with lots of people looking into it as well. And then join your corners nice and neatly there. Again, I'm just going to go in with my trusty clothes pegs just to hold things while I go all the way around. And that's going to give me my box lid, and then I can just smooth down on all those sides there. If you've got your Crafter's Companion tape pen, you can quite easily use that as well. So I'm just going to set that aside to dry, and now we're actually going to make the exploding box part of the project. Let's make the base of the box now, and I've got a piece of A4 cardstock, Centura pearl, and a scrap of A4 cardstock. So I want to show you how you can create this box, the exploding part of the box, with your A4 as well. You don't need to have 12 by 12 or A3. So we're going to start on box base, which is on this side, and the first thing we're going to do is score at the 4-inch mark all the way up, and then we always burnish our score line before doing the next one. And then the base of the project is going to be 3.5 inches, because that's what we've made our box lid for. So we're now going to score at 3.5, making sure that's butt right up to the box base. I'm not going to score that because we're going to actually cut that away. Now we're going to put the long side on your Score Master, and you're going to score again at the 4-inch mark, because that is the panel that's going to be your 4 inches. And then we're going to burnish that score line, butt that up closely, and score again at 3.5 inches. Burnish that score line, butt that up, and that comes in at the 4-inch mark. And then we just need to chop a couple of bits of those out of the way. Before we do, let's go with our scrap, because we still need a piece for our scrap. So we're going to come down at 3.5 inches, and then on this side we're going to score at 4 inches, burnish that score mark, butt that up and then score at 3.5 inches. And then on this piece we're going to chop away this side and also this piece here. This is the 3.5 inch piece at the bottom, this is the side, so if I corner around the sides we know which are the side panels. Okay, so we don't need that. And now if I chop the pieces off for here, so I'm going to mark these off. So you've got a piece that looks like this and a piece that looks like this, and when you join those together that's going to create your exploding box. Okay, so if I bring my lid in, let's put all that together. It's not glued yet, but you will see where we're going with this one. So pop the lid on, that's it. And there we go, we've got our exploding box. Now we've got our box all put together, we now need to make the hole in the bottom to pop our tea light in. Okay, so I've got a tea light here that's got a switch at the bottom. Okay, and that's why I need to make a hole in the bottom here for it to fit. And I found the perfect die for that is a diamond press circle, and this is 1.5 inches across, and I'm going to show you how you can die cut that out on your Gemini Junior, because obviously if you haven't got a big Gemini it's not as easy to do. So I'm going to show you how to do it on the Junior, so I'm going to switch that on. Okay, now if you look at it, this is going to be too big to go through our machine because this is in the way. But if I bring in the metal plate and tuck that piece underneath out the way, okay, making sure we slide this end down because you have the flappy bit coming out last, not first. Okay, in fact let me turn it around that way, it's probably easier. My metal sheet is a bit bowy at the moment, so that's going to go on there. I'm bringing my second piece in because this also needs to have the circle on, but rather than do it that way I'm going to go that way, and just to get that die cut in, and then bring your die in and put it roughly in the centre. If you're not sure where the centre is, you can do a crisscross. I'm thinking that looks pretty good. Eyeballing that. Hang on, I've just moved it. It was looking pretty good. So it's take a minute to pop that where I want it. And if I bring the piece I've cut, this is a little piece of scrap that is just 1/4 inch smaller than the base. Okay, so it's 3¼ by 3¼ and I've die cut my circle in just to make sure it all fits. And if I pop that in the middle, just so I've got my gap around the edge. Oh, I just need to come over slightly, so let's come over that way, and that looks pretty good to me. Okay, I'll just put another piece of tape on there so we don't want that moving about while it goes through. So, and then normal platform, cloudy, magnetic, clear. So this is showing you how you can put it through on your Gemini Junior, because not everybody's got a big one. So take that off. Don't worry about that being slightly marked here, because we're going to be covering that in that beautiful decorative paper that comes in the collection as well. And if you look, if I just push that through, the power of the Gemini has cut through both of those quite easily. Take my tape off, switch the machine off. Okay, move my plates out the way. So that is cut through, no problem at all. I'm not going to glue these together as yet, but what you would do is then glue those together. I've done a little circle disc for the top to hide the mechanism from the tree when we cut it. But if I bring this all up with this tea light that I bought, this is just a battery operated tea light. You can see how that's going to go when we bring all this together. Okay, so it's all going to look nice. We're going to have a tree all lit up from the inside, then we fold it all up to create our exploding box. Just tuck all that in there. So there we go. And then from the bottom you can then switch that on. Now we're going to cut the trees to go inside, and I've got 2 strips of that green coordinating card at the pad, and they're 12 inches by 3¼ inches. I'm just going to fold these in half and put these through the Gemini. Now I know the strength of the Gemini will cut through the 2 layers quite easily. So I'll just get some repositionable tape here. I'm not going to put the join right to the top. I'm going to turn it up, just move it up a bit, just so it's got the star in. So I'm going to pop it on about there and tape that in place and pass that through the Gemini, and I'm going to do that with both. That's both of these cut out now. I've got 2 layers there, and what I'm going to do is just cut at a diagonal to the base of the tree, and that can be thrown away. So you're going to have 2 pieces that look like this. You are going to need to cut 4 further trees. Okay, if I bring these in, I can show you. Don't need any of that. Move that out of the way. You're going to need to cut 4 more trees, and I've actually stamped on there using the stamp in the die set. Okay, so you need to cut 4 more of those, and I will show you what we are going to do. And what we could do is to put some holes in these so we can have that light shining through. So if I gather these together and bring in my crocodile, just a hole punch. I'm just going to use the little holes here. Okay, and I'm just going to bring in a couple of trees that I've already gone ahead and decorated actually, so we get holes in a similar place. Where's the last one? So I've got, that's it, the two there. Can you see here I've already started to decorate my trees. So actually if I pop these on here and punch out some holes, that light's going to disperse through to make it look a bit more, make it look a bit special. So I'm just going to randomly, not too many holes, but a few holes. If you haven't got a crocodile, another thing you could use is a pokey tool if you wanted to get this effect. It's entirely up to you, but I just think it will add to the feature itself. So that's that one, and I've already got my decorations on here, so I'm going to have to do this one carefully. You can see how nicely these trees do decorate up. The dies are just exquisite, and with the stamps matching, everything has been thought about. I mean, the detail is absolutely amazing. I've just been blown away by the detail on the stamps and the dies. You know, dies for every little thing. You know, these tiny little baubles. Just couldn't believe it. It's just absolutely fantastic. I'm going to do the same on this one here. So I'm not going to go actually on my decoration. I'm just going to randomly put some holes between the green area so the light will shine through. So anyway, that's what I've done there. Okay. The next thing we need to do is to bend these over so we can join these two pieces together. Alright, now best way I've found to do it is actually with my long tweezers, and all I've done is take it in there and bend it, and then going back up, going a bit back to front here, but like that, so they're bent upwards. And that's the best way I've found to do it. If you haven't got long tweezers like this, another thing that you can do is just to get a ruler and your scoring stylus, you know, your Crafter's Companion scoring tool, and you can use that as well. So that's another way you can do it. Just trying to bend these over so we're getting that effect, and actually when you put it together you've got lovely crocodile's teeth there as well. So there's another thing you could probably do with these when Christmas is all over. Now that is the nice thing about these dies, there's just so much you can do with them. So let's bend that over, and again on that side. I think it's just nice to do different projects with these, just to show the versatility of these dies, because there is just so much you can do with them. The detail is amazing. Okay, so we've got that all going on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to join these together where they overlap with some glue, so you can see where I'm coming from. Now we're going to start getting that pyramid coming into play. Alright, so you have to just watch this star bit at the top, but we have got another die and a stamp for the star, so I will be die cutting another star up. You know, you may choose to make a little fairy and put on the top of your tree, and that is absolutely fine as well. You know, if you've got those tiny little lights, you could poke those through the holes. There's just so many things that we could actually do with this. But let's go with this, what we're doing. Hopefully I'm inspiring you to have a go at doing some different projects. So just a bit of glue there along the teeth, as I say. This is going to wrap over there, and then just match them up, because actually they do match up perfectly. They are symmetrical, so don't panic because they are symmetrical. Just hold that a bit using the tacky glue. Okay, and you're just going to take your time just letting that dry and go around and do each one. So I'm going to get that done, and I'll probably fast forward the camera because it will take a long time. Well, not a long time, but it will take a little bit of time for the glue to dry. So I'll fast forward the camera and I'll see you when I've glued them all up. Right, I've stuck all of those together. Okay, so you can see the effect that we're going for. I need to decorate my other two trees up, and then what I'm going to be doing, bringing our box, this is going to sit over our tea light. I'm going to do it at a diagonal and attach these pieces just on the corners here, and then cut away what I don't need, but I'll show you when I come to do that. But this is the effect we're going for. So I'm just going to get my other trees decorated up, and I'll be back in a minute. I've attached 3 of the trees that I've decorated. I've done one in the nice candy canes and 2 in the baubles, and I've got a 4th one here with the candy canes, and these are the ones, if you remember, where we punch the holes out from. So I'm just going to attach the last one here, and I'm using the tacky glue for this, so try and get it as far up to the edges as you can. I'm attaching all this before we go ahead and glue this over our tea light. Okay, so just enough glue on there to really get a good grip, and then obviously because it's shaped as a pyramid, you're just going to need to just gently tease it out. The cardstock's only 180 GSM that I'm using here, so it's sturdy for these projects, which has been great, but it's not too stiff that I haven't got control. So I'm just pinching those edges there just so I get a nice grip. I've die cut a couple of more of the little stars out of some silver mirror card. Again, they are all in the die set for you. Everything has been thought out with this collection. It's just amazing, and it's just like building that scene up, and these are little projects that people are going to enjoy receiving. These are things you can make into home decor that you can bring out year after year. There's just so many different ways you can use them, and you can also mix and match them if you've got the previous dimensional dies, which is quite nice as well. So that last little star on there, are you going to stay on there, little star? I think I've got enough glue on there. That's it. Right, so I've got my pattern paper that I've cut the same as I did the base, and I put a little slit in it because obviously I'm not going to be able to get it over the top of the tree. So by putting a little slit, it means I've got that manoeuvrability with that. So let's now bring in our box so we can start putting this together. I've decorated the box now. I've put my panels on here. These are all decorated up. So I've sort of put those on, and what a rule of thumb what I do is, so you get this nice edge, is to go 1/4 of an inch in or less, so you get a nice border around, and then with the light blue I've gone 1/4 of an inch again less. So it's just nice, very similar to your card making, just making those nice mats and layers. So I've popped some of the snowflakes. These are also all from the collection. Everything is from the collection there, and the Let It Snow there on the top. And then if you open the lid out, obviously your exploding box is ready to have that tree in. So let's get this glued on. Now obviously the green elements are just a bit too big at the moment, so what I'm going to do is trim those down. So let's just trim those across like that, and I'm not going to waste that. I can use that to die cut some holly from the collection, the parcels, the garlands, so all these little scraps come in handy. So got my tea light, so I'm going to pop some tacky glue onto here, and I'm going with quite a good amount of tacky glue because I want a good grip with this. So whacking that on there, get some lots of glue on there. Okay, and another thing I'm going to do, we've obviously got our tea light in the bottom here, which is nice and snug. As you can see, it's really nice and snug. But what I am going to do is I'm just going to put a bead of the tacky glue round the edge just to help the tree stick. Okay, the battery in this should, I found with these little tea light batteries, they normally last the season. So if you've got them out for Christmas or anything, they last. And it's not the sort of thing you're going to have on all the time. Alright, so this is now ready to go on. I'm going to go at diagonals, I think, so I'm going to have the tape, these tab bits, into the corners, if that makes sense. So it just makes the tree look nice. So just take your time positioning it where you want it. Okay, and pushing the trunk of the tree, that's the word, Dawn, the trunk of the tree, just pushing that in as well. Okay, so just making sure that all got a nice stick on there. Okay, and there is going to be a gap, but as you know, in the collection you have those super cute little parcels, and I have been die cutting some of those up already. What I'm going to do is just go round and snip bits off that I don't need, because I don't want to see these bits. I'm just picking it up while the glue is still wet and taking those pieces off. One more there, I think. Get that one out of the way. Okay, that tacky glue will just take a minute just to take off, and just pressing that down. Right, now I'm ready to attach my little collar that I've made. So this is where you're going to put round one side and then round the other side. So it is a little bit tricky, but just bear with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on one half first. So I've got control of what we're doing. So I've got glue on one half of that. I'm just going to bend that. This is from the decorative paper that's also in the collection. So you can see, being 180 GSM, I've still got manoeuvrability with it. Just need to get it under there. That's it. And then get that first bit in position first, definitely. Okay, then when I'm happy with where that is, if I've got any glue coming out, rub that away quickly. Now I'm ready to attach the other piece. So I'm going to go and put glue on the base of this now on the other half. I've done it this way because I didn't want to, when I put the collar around the tree, I didn't want to get glue on the tree, because the tree is looking beautiful now. It's all decorated up with those baubles, those candy canes. It's just looking lovely. Now it's got its little tree skirt on, so that just needs time just to dry. So while that is drying, I have decorated some panels to go on the inside of my Christmas tree, so it just looks absolutely stunning. So I've got some panels here for that as well. So let's get those stuck on. I'm just going to use the all-purpose for that. I'm now going to put some of the parcels together. In your kit you're going to get these lovely little dies that cut out parcels, little oblong ones and square ones, and you've got all these little different types of ribbons that you can also die cut out to put on them. So everything has been thought about. You also get stamps to match as well. So honestly, I don't think there's anything they've left out at all. It's all here. So let me just show you a couple of these stamps here. So I've got a couple of the parcels already die cut out. I wanted to show you. I've put some together already. So I'm just using a StazOn ink here because it's going to go off quite quickly. But you could use any colour ink you like, no problem at all. And I find it's easier to match the cut out die or your paper that's cut out over your stamp, and then just press down with your fingers. So you've got that nice pattern on there. I find that's the easiest way to do it rather than stamp and then try and match your dies on over the top, because if you look, the dies are solid. So I would recommend die cutting them out and then stamping them. And I have actually found with the Gemini and the cardstock you've got in this kit, you can actually do 2 layers at one time, so you can cut out lots of parcels in one pass. So that goes on there like that. And then with these tiny little ribbons, if I just put a little bit of glue on the back of my hand here, I find that's the easiest way to go. And then if I de-stick in my tweezers a minute, die cut these tiny little ribbons out of some silver mirror card, just so it all ties in with what we've got going on around the edge. And then they can go on top of the parcels, and don't they look just so super cute? It's just everything is thought about. You know, there's so many different ways you can use these little parcels with the ribbons. I think you'll be using all year round, not just for Christmas, because you think you've got birthdays. How many birthday cards do you make a year? So there's lots of ways that this collection can be used at other points during the year. So the way I'm going to attach those is with some 3D glue gel. And if I put some glue set on the back of this one here, I'm just going to put a blob of glue and then just pile them up under the tree. So I'm going to get those done, and then I'm going to show you the finished project. The project is now finished. This beautiful exploding box with the difference, perfect for a Christmas gift to pass on to somebody, just something a little bit special. Can switch the tea light on at the bottom there, and then when we take the lid off, wow, you've got that amazing Christmas tree, all 3D'd. If I lift it up, you can see it's all 3D'd with the beautifully decorative panels, those parcels, the candy cane and the light. You can't quite see the light here because obviously I've got the lights on, but if I was to turn the lights off you would see them. So I hope you agree that this is an amazing project and something that is achievable, and it's all made possible with these great dimensional dies. So if you get yours, have a go at making this because you're going to love it.